Catfish and the Bottlemen, the band dubbed the next Arctic Monkeys, are officially back. After what seemed on the face of it, very much like the end of the band after what was a rather abrupt breakup back in 2021. And it looked at the time like it really was the end of the Catfish and the Bottlemen story. 2014's debut album, The Balcony, became an indie classic almost overnight, seeing the band rise to fame and very quickly work their way up the bill on the main stage of the world's biggest festivals. The band's secret sauce, in my opinion anyway, was Van McCann's ability to tell stories in his songwriting, turning the mundane into captivating, and writing empathetically about everyday stuff that we can all relate to. Comparisons were indeed drawn to indie rock legends like The Killers, Arctic Monkeys, The Cribs, the list goes on. This cracking debut was followed up by 2016's The Ride and 2019's The Balance, two albums that saw the band retain their sonic formula, delivering great songs on both follow-ups. But then their story came to a sudden halt in 2021. Fast forward 3 years later, and after teasing their return on the billboards of Manchester over the past few months, the band are officially back with their new single called Showtime. But with only 2 of the original band members still in the lineup, are Catfish and the Bottlemen still the Catfish and the Bottlemen we've grown up to know and love? And what can we expect from this new lineup? Will Catfish still sound like Catfish? Let's discuss. So what actually led to the breakup? Well, to this day we don't actually know the details. After a string of cancelled shows, the band's lead guitarist, Bondi, also widely considered to be Van's best friend, took to Instagram to announce his departure from the band, stating that he had no choice but to walk away from the project, and this was mainly due to circumstances that were beyond his control. He also cited in that post that his professional and personal relationships with the band became entirely dysfunctional, as well as saying that he found the behaviour in the band intolerable. And to this day, it doesn't look like he's had any contact with the band. The band's drummer, or former drummer I should say, Bob Hall, also took to Instagram shortly after to announce his departure from the band. So with this recent announcement of the band's return, it does look like half the band will be made up of new members. And so far it doesn't look as though anybody really knows who these new members are. This does link in though with an interesting theme that I've seen cropping up in the indie rock space. Let me explain. You had The Killers, which I guess wasn't technically a breakup, but the original guitarist in the band, Dave Kooning, and the original bassist in the band, Mark Stormer, both effectively left the band's live outfit in 2017 and 2020 respectively, contributing only to the band's studio recordings from that point onwards. So if you'd have booked tickets to go and see The Killers during their Wonderful Wonderful album tour, like I did, you'd see Brandon Flowers front and centre, Ronnie Vannucci Jr. on drums, and then 2 other guys that oddly enough looked very similar to the original band members, especially in the facial hair department. I wonder if that was intentional. But yeah, Tad Sablé, I think that's how you say it, Tad Sablé on lead guitar in place of Dave, and Jake Blanton on bass in place of Mark. Sablé? So different band members for the live shows basically. But interestingly still under that moniker, that brand of The Killers. But also it's not The Killers. We've also seen it very recently with Kasabian, with Tom Meehan leaving the band, and Serge taking up lead vocals, which in the case of Kasabian makes the band a completely different sounding band. But they've kept the same name and branding of Kasabian. So why are bands doing this? Well, I guess if you've built up a reputation and a fan base over the course of a number of years, you don't want to lose that. You want to be able to continue to leverage that going forward. And you also want to be able to guarantee a certain number of ticket sales and guarantee a particular spot on the bill. I mean, if Catfish and the Bottlemen rename themselves, would they be able to command a headline slot at Reading and Leeds Festival? I don't think so. And even if you're not that familiar with the band, the songs of prior years still hold so much weight. I mean, you see that name and you go, oh okay, Catfish and the Bottlemen are headlining, maybe I'll go. I also think with Catfish, they're a band where Van McCann is definitely their primary creative force, and he very much embodies the essence of the band and what the band is. So I don't actually think changing the lineup will cause too much to actually change in this case. Kasabian, well, that's a different story. But for Catfish, I don't think it's anywhere near as big of a deal. An interesting talking point though, nonetheless. So, the new comeback single, Showtime. Let's talk about the production first, because that's really what caught my eye, or ear. It sounds to me like a sonic progression, possibly the result of new band members adding their own sonic flair to the production of this record, who knows. The introduction of densely laid gang vocals on the chorus of this one, and very thick sounding and layered acoustic and electric guitars. Van's voice is also double tracked throughout pretty much the whole song. Just interesting to hear all these subtle differences after 3 albums of essentially the exact same sound. There could well be some sonic progression on this new record. The lyrics on this one for me are all about the rebirth of the band. You know, some of the lyrics, if I just read them off here, back to the graft again, back to the fields again, making tracks again. It's all about falling in love with the art of making music again and playing live. And after the band's pretty sudden breakup, I think it's a great sentiment, you know. I think it's a great song to come back with. And if there's anything we can read into what's to come from this song, it's that this upcoming album could have a lot of excitement and fresh energy, given that the band are now playing again. It's a fresh start in many ways, and I'm very excited for this new era of Catfish, I have to say. Van's always been someone that I've personally admired and thought has a lot of talent, especially in his songwriting, so it's good to see that it's not going to waste. The new album. So we don't actually have an official album announcement yet. We have the new single Showtime, which I think we can assume will be the first single from the band's upcoming 4th studio album. Given that the band are gearing up right now to play some big shows this summer, I wouldn't be surprised if they started to debut some brand new songs live. A lot of bands do this now to try and stir up some excitement and anticipation ahead of the record. The band also worked with Grammy Award-winning producer Dave Sardy on this new song Showtime, and I think it's safe to say that he'll be involved in some big way on this new record. All I can really say now, to be honest, is watch this space. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this new Catfish and the Bottlemen single Showtime. And whilst you're down there, let me know if you've heard anything new about who these new band members are or what this new lineup is going to look like. Like, if you've heard any rumours around who this new guitarist or drummer could be, then share it with us below. I'm personally very excited to see what this new Catfish is going to look like. And sound like, for that matter. Showtime for me certainly sounds like a bit of a progression on their previous work, and it's made me excited to hear what the new album is going to sound like. Certainly if these new members contribute to the production and the overall sound of the songs. So yes, lots of new music to look forward to. Summer festival season is nearly upon us. We have a new album from Liam Gallagher and John Squire that's out right now, and if you want to watch my video covering that, I'll leave a link at some point near the end of the video to that one. We also have a new single and brand new album announcement from Kings of Leon and Kasabian. Again, if you fancy watching my videos on those bands, I'll put a link on screen very shortly. So yeah, a whole lot to look forward to. And if you do want to be kept updated with what's going on in the indie and alternative rock space, then I would recommend signing up to my monthly newsletter. Link in the description, in which I'll share what I'm listening to, what I'm watching, as well as some handy home studio music making tips and tricks for those interested. That sort of thing. So if that sounds good to you, just enter in your email into the link in the description and it will automatically add you to my email list. And whilst you're down there, you can also download the Logic file for my new single All In completely for free. So if you're interested at all about how I made the song at home, you can download the session, open it up on your Mac or your iPad on Logic and deconstruct the session and see how I made it basically. I also documented the whole process, so if you are interested, I'll leave a link to that video playlist on screen round about now. And with that said, smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this, more content appearing on screen round about now. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I've gone all in for this ride.